Llegaron los nuevos McCrispy Strips, listos para aventurarse en la mezcla de mayo ketchup, la barbecue que quedó en el fondo de la cajita, Hot Fudge Sundae y en la nueva Creamy Chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Los nuevos McCrispy Strips, ahora en McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Offer valid on standard browsers, U.S. only.
When I heard about Date My Age, I thought, I gotta check that out. I mean, I'm getting older, sure, but I don't feel like I'm done with, the fun parts of life, like connection and desire, excitement. You don't really find those things at the grocery store or the doctor's office, so I went online. Date My Age made dating an adventure. It gave me a chance to feel like a teenager again. The thrill of seeing someone new and saying, wow. I could send a spicy gift, start a video chat, or just message my compliments to a beautiful woman.
Whether you love, or just like to look, the fun is waiting for you at Date My Age.
Sure, I was skeptical, but Date My Age is safe, secure, and fun.
Get 60% off when you join at datemyage.com today. That's datemyage.com to connect with thousands of singles worldwide. datemyage.com.
Llegaron los nuevos McCrispy Strips, listos para aventurarse en la mezcla de mayo ketchup, la barbecue que quedó en el fondo de la cajita, Hot Fudge Sundae y en la nueva Creamy Chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Los nuevos McCrispy Strips, ahora en McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Handegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Mike Anderson Seafood, Leslie at Nicholson, welcome to the Tuesday edition Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Handegriff, Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Glad you're with us today on a very sunny and hot day here in Baton Rouge. Andy Iskoe will be with us from Las Vegas later on this hour, where it's even hotter, I'm sure. And we'll do first class, second class, no class. We do on Tuesdays. Conference tournament baseball got underway at a couple places 8 o'clock this morning, 8 o'clock our time, with the American tournament. Tulane threw their closer this morning, hoping to stay alive. So far it seems to be working. They are up 6-2 in the ninth inning. The SEC tournament got underway about an hour and a half ago. Missouri and Alabama are through 5, tied who threw their number 1, Tyler Fay, today, who's been throwing number 1 for them. They lead 2-1 against Missouri at the end of 5. And over at the ACC tournament in Durham, they're playing at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park. Cal is just putting the hammer down on Miami. It's 12-2 after 8. If you saw the D1 projections earlier this week, and that game is going now final with the run rule, 12-2 after 8. The Miami Hurricanes were one of the teams that were projected to come to Baton Rouge, and I suppose could. It is not one of Miami's stronger teams. That'll put them at 15-15 in ACC play. Their RPI is in good shape at 31, but their overall record is 31-24. Still, they seem like they're in decent shape for an at-large, and we got tournament baseball all over the place. The second game today is at the SEC tournament is Kentucky and Oklahoma. That is followed by A&M. I'm sorry, A&M and Missouri is the last game today. South Carolina and Florida is the third game today. LSU has the luxury of being able to sit around and watch all this stuff, actually sit around in Baton Rouge and watch all this stuff for the next couple of days before they depart for Hoover and play the Friday second game, which will be somewhere in the vicinity of 6:30. Jimmy, how you doing?
Good, man. How about you?
Good. I love this. I love these days. Make no mistake, this is not the NCAA basketball tournament first-round games, but it's fun. I wouldn't want to do this every week, but having baseball all day, every day for 5 or 6 days is pretty cool to me. And there's something about the SEC tournament. Most of the time, it hasn't really meant anything for LSU. They have had seeds locked in. There's been a couple of years where they've gone there where they needed a win or so to lock things up, for sure. But there's never that sense of urgency that you see with most years, that you see with, of course, the NCAA tournament. But there have been some unbelievable games and unbelievable endings over the years for LSU in this tournament. I mean, some really bizarre baseball things. You remember last year's game, the 8-0 comeback? They were down 8-0 against South Carolina.
Yeah,
that controversial play on the steal of home where LSU.
Not really.
Well, okay, so LSU's
really.
they're trying to steal home. LSU's catcher gets the ball within 3 steps. They charged him with stepping in front of the plate, which he didn't do. Game goes to extra innings. Milam walks it off with a home run. Todd Peterson. You remember Todd Peterson, the LSU pitcher who had never hit before, hits a double to preserve their win against South Carolina. It seemed like a lot of these games been against South Carolina. Another one I was thinking about this morning was the 2008 one where they had the 22-game win streak intact. Went to the 9th inning down 4-0 against South Carolina. Matt Clark hits a 3-run homer. They end up tying the game. And Blake Dean walked it off for LSU in the bottom of the 10th to preserve that winning streak. That was Maneri's second team. Just some random, just some bizarre endings at times. Games that have gone way past midnight or started really early in the morning. You see some strange stuff in conference baseball.
Well, yeah, and the likes of Todd Peterson aren't gonna. They're not getting at bat when it counts.
Right.
And so you see some of these. This is unorthodox. You see pitchers pitching that aren't going to not factor into pitching, and especially with the reduction of the 16 regional to the 14 regional. Now, 16 regional, you might get stretched out. I mean, that's obvious. I mean,
trying to come through the losers bracket, which LSU did more than once.
Well,
you had
to get through the whole thing. You got to play 4 more games to eliminate 2 more teams and the same time period. And, you drag into Monday, drag into Tuesday, you start on Thursday, don't start on Friday. I mean, it was a complete dodge and rain, the whole bit. So I think it's even worse than basketball as far as less at stake.
Yeah.
You play more games in baseball, so you've got more of your resume that's complete. So just by math alone, the percentage is less. So let's just stick to that. It can be fun, but it's one that sticks out to me is I think LSU is playing like a Saturday game, and they're down to their 6th starter, and AJ Puck's throwing, and Florida is too, but they got AJ Puck.
Yeah,
I mean, that's an embarrassment of riches, and okay. This is not going to be you won't have Puck matched up against this guy when it counts moving forward.
Right.
So it's and I don't know how forget the fans. I mean, you have to, because I hate to say it like that, but making a trip, going 5 hours, and if you only know you're going to play 1 game. I mean, this is half the stands are made up of the retirees. The ones that don't have the schedule, looking for something to do. Let's take the RV. Let's take the RV
baseball game.
RV park, and let's go do it. But it could be hot. It could be long, and it's just not. Man, just the SEC just continues to even further distance themselves from everybody else, and their teams are in. Yeah. I mean, now, say, you got to. This team's got to win it all, maybe, to get a bid. And you're talking about your 14th place teams got to win it all, or 13th.
Yeah.
I mean, good luck. You know what I'm saying? So how many more games are they going to have to play?
Yeah, not if you loaned them 6 pitchers. Could Missouri or South Carolina win this tournament?
A&M certainly capable, but they can't with their seed.
No, I'd give them a 0.5% chance to even get to the weekend. Really, that. You do see some performances that you would never see in the regular season. It's interesting, but it's not urgent. Tulane, I was bringing him up earlier. They're just trying to keep their season going. Okay, the next loss is going to be the end unless they win the American tournament. They threw their closer today, a kid named Michael Lombardi, easy name to remember. Okay, he had not thrown more than 4 1/3 innings all year.
Yeah.
He threw 7 today.
Yeah.
He threw 7 2-hit innings and struck out 11 today, and Tulane won. And so they get to play another day. But, that's probably it. They're not projected to go much further. Alabama here playing against Missouri. Alabama is still holding out hope with a top 10 RPI of just hosting, not top 8, just hosting. this win would not really help them all that much, but a loss would probably put the
that's the thing.
Put the end to any hopes that they have.
That's the whole part, Charlie. You got to avoid a bad loss.
Yeah. So
they just don't lose this one. Even if you lose, okay, but no, you're avoiding a bad loss is way more important than I think despite D1, and D1 certainly has probably done a lot more research than me, but a non-RPI team out of this league, my money's on they'll be hosting. They're going to get a 9-16.
And I thought they would, too, as long as they didn't get swept at Florida, which they didn't. They did manage one game in that series. I thought 16-14 with that RPI would be enough. They win this game, they'll get to continue on.
Well, so you're good. They avoided it.
They haven't won yet.
No. You said they avoided the sweep.
Yeah.
And I thought they were going into the games.
Right.
So
I didn't think 15-15 would do it. I thought 16-14 would. So yes, I think that they are a host, and. I'm not biased here because I'll say anything negative against Alabama. But no, if they were to lose this game to Missouri, that would probably change things. But
and they know they have a little bit on the line. They're not throwing a guy that's thrown 4 innings today, right?
They are not. They are throwing a guy they've been running out there in game 1.
They want to avoid it, and wouldn't that be your approach if he's on proper rest?
Yeah. Oh well, let's see, through Thursday, so he's on 4 days rest. And I believe he's out of the game now.
But listen, we learned real quick about Jay Johnson. I'm not putting anything on LSU to win this thing. They're right there with A&M. That was a Friday game, I believe so.
Faye's actually still in the game.
And Schemes was at it. Man, look, I think he had a 1-run lead. Sorry, no. This is not important.
Right,
we're set. We're looking ahead, and you should, because playing a guy 30 minutes in a basketball game with a week to rest. The arms are different. You have to manage arms differently. And that's what now listen, would I rather be watching Stephen A. or Alabama, Missouri right now? Come on, man.
Yeah, right.
We got games.
Yeah.
We got games when we don't. Tuesday through Sunday. But this is more for the unaccomplished pro.
Llegaron los nuevos McCrispy Strips, listos para aventurarse en la mezcla de mayo ketchup, la barbecue que quedó en el fondo de la cajita, hot fudge sundae y en la nueva creamy chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Los nuevos McCrispy Strips, ahora en McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Offer valid on standard browsers, U.S. only.
When I heard about Date My Age, I thought, I gotta check that out. I'm getting older, sure, but I don't feel like I'm done with, the fun parts of life, like connection and desire, excitement. You don't really find those things at the grocery store or the doctor's office, so I went online. Date My Age made dating an adventure. It gave me a chance to feel like a teenager again. The thrill of seeing someone new and saying, wow. I could send a spicy gift, start a video chat, or just message my compliments to a beautiful woman.
Whether you love, or just like to look, the fun is waiting for you at Date My Age.
Sure, I was skeptical, but Date My Age is safe, secure, and fun.
Get 60% off when you join at datemyage.com today. That's datemyage.com to connect with thousands of singles worldwide. datemyage.com.
Grams. And let me get this straight. Remember about 4 or 5 years ago when Ole Miss and LSU played in the final on Memorial Day?
Yeah.
And how many, it was like, okay, now's a good time to go rob Oxford.
Ole Miss was into that game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, were they into it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's for them. You know, like they had never won one to that point. They acted like it was, they had just won a regional, a super regional.
Right.
To go. They had been to Omaha at that point.
Ooh,
I don't think so.
I think they've been once, but okay, but not a lot, not a lot for sure.
We know what Omaha stands for. Ole Miss at home again.
We had to retire that joke after they won the national championship. That was a shame because
they held their Rocco's title for a year, huh?
Yeah, that one may not ever be broken, well, at least until LSU.
But but it's more for the listen. The LSU fans like to travel and they get in their RVs and they go, "Man, why not?" If I'm retired, I'm going to look for something to man.
It's Omaha Light. If you ever be tailgating in that parking lot, I don't know how the single elimination is going to
Wait. Omaha Light in what way?
in that you don't have to travel halfway across the country. You can drive to Hoover.
I know, but it's
driving to Omaha is it's a day.
Charlie, this is a midweek tournament.
I meant from a fan standpoint.
Okay.
The stakes, no. Okay, no. But from a tailgating and let's be honest, you just want to go sit in the parking lot and drink beer and barbecue, and then go watch the baseball game and then go back. It's Omaha light. Okay, I've seen the LSU fans do it. I've been out there with them.
I think that's
the baseball.
I would never, ever take a midweek tournament and call it Omaha in any way.
Well, in
any way.
In Omaha, in the parking lot, are you out there on Wednesdays and Thursdays?
97, did they win the SEC tournament? I don't know. I know they won the title.
You went.
In 90, I know. I don't know.
It was in Columbus, Georgia.
It was. 98 was.
No, it was 97.
No, 97 was. That's right. 97. Yeah, I did go. Yeah, they won. They lost.
They lost. Alabama won the tournament.
Yeah. Okay. And 98, 93, I don't know. I know 2000. I don't know. But I know they won the national title.
Yes.
But that's
why these games get forgotten. Okay. I brought up a few that.
Ole Miss still talks about Sean Tuohy and them winning the SEC basketball tournament. They still talk about it.
If LSU ever got to the finals of the SEC tournament, which they've done twice in the last 30 years, I might actually pay attention.
But let's not. I mean, hey, it's baseball during the day instead of watching the midday program. Yeah. Absolutely, we're going to be watching. Absolutely, but let's not insult the intelligence of our audience. This is not a big deal.
No, it's not.
In any way.
And here's what I think Jay Johnson's going to do on Friday. I think he's going to send Kate Anderson out there, and throw 80 pitches or so, 80, 85 pitches, and he's going to get him out of the game. Maybe even a little bit less. Doesn't matter what the score is. Doesn't matter what point of the game it is. He's going to throw him about 80 or so pitches, and he's going to get him out of the game. If they win, he'll do the same thing with Ianson on Saturday. If they lose, Ianson will come back. We talked about this on the podcast yesterday with Dan Canaveri, who was the pitching coach for all of Skip's, national championship teams. Doug Thompson, who pitched on those teams, said, what's going to happen if Ianson doesn't pitch so that he doesn't go 2 weeks without, some competitive. He's going to go back and throw some kind of simulated game on Saturday when they get back for about 4 innings or about 70, 80 pitches, something like that. And if they win on Saturday, well, then they'll figure out whoever else it is. But nobody's going to be overused. They're not going to bring back – this is a 3-game series for LSU, even if they win the first 2 games. So it's not 5 games in 6 days or something crazy like that.
72. 72 and a half.
What's up?
Pitch count for those guys, over under.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, I remember Skeens. I want to say 85.
It was
87,
it was low
something
80s.
like that.
Yeah.
And it'll be in that. It'll be in that area. It'll be in that area.
I think it might be even a little less, especially with the Saturday guy.
Depends on how they feel. They've been upwards of 90 of 100 pitches. They need to, a little bit of a break.
Games that count.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They'll dial that back.
Yeah,
they'll dial that back.
You think win, lose, or draw. I mean, 0-2, 0-1, whatever it is. They're in.
This is the point where you're doing your pitchers based on setting them up for next week, not on winning these games.
Well, Mike Anderson, we have been busy, man. Busy. All the different graduations around town, the college, high school, junior college level.
I was in here yesterday. BRCC graduated yesterday.
That's very good, Charlie.
A lot of them.
I didn't realize they were over here yesterday. They've got Mother's Day. They've got Father's Day just ahead. Easter. It's been a heck of a run. The crawfish season has been very busy. We're done doing the boiled crawfish right now, but every Tuesday night, all year round, it is half off oysters on the half shells. So we're doing the chaw grilled as well. Michael's over here shucking all ready for us, and got the SEC baseball games on and a little bit of great stuff. But when you got some people from out of town, and we're there. You got relatives that are coming in for graduations, stuff like that, man, you want to give them a sample of great South Louisiana cuisine, and you got it over here from, how about the sampler for lunch, huh? You get a little bit of crawfish etouffee, a little bit of seafood gumbo, a little bit of fried shrimp, a little bit of fried catfish, a salad or coleslaw to go with. Talk about really good stuff. So this is the place. We've been here for a long, long time. It's absolutely outstanding. It's a place to celebrate, but it's definitely a place, for people out of town, for you to come over here and give them a taste of South Louisiana here at Mike Anderson's.
Live at Mike Anderson's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. New Handicast we dropped yesterday. Me, Cano, Doug talking about LSU's postseason possibilities and wrapping up the series with South Carolina. Alabama with a 2-1 lead against Missouri. We're now in the top of the 7th inning with a couple out and nobody on. Tyler Fay still in the game for Alabama, who started.
His pitch count?
I don't have it handy. Let me see.
Oh, no, he's not. He's going 12 pitches.
I'm sorry. They did change. They changed him out. They changed him out. My box score is behind here. So they made a move to the bullpen.
Error allowed the tie and run on for Missouri, but the left-handed reliever picks him off to erase him. So now 2 outs, nobody on, top of the 7th.
The second game is Kentucky and Oklahoma. We're still waiting on who's going to pitch in those games. Let's see what Alabama. Yeah, he threw. Let's see. He threw 6 innings, threw 75 pitches, and Heiberger is in the game for Alabama. So they made.
So there you go. Even with a lot more on the line, 75. That's enough.
Right.
Way to win. In a highly competitive game.
Kentucky is. I think they're in, but it's close. There's 13 and 17 in the SEC, so it's at least on the bubble at 29 and 23 overall. The RPI is 35. If they were to lose today to Oklahoma, I still think they're in, but it's pretty close. They're considering bringing back their ace today, Nate Harris. He threw on Thursday. He only threw 60 pitches in 4 innings.
He can come back today.
They could bring him back today. They've got a couple other relievers in Scott Rouse and Ethan Walker who could come back and pitch in this game. But they could run Harris out there. They could run him out on a pitch count. We'll see. I can promise you Oklahoma's not throwing Kyson Witherspoon. If they did, I would fall on the floor shocked. He threw 107 pitches
well, let's see that.
On Thursday.
Come on. Let Handy fall down on the floor.
I'm pretty sure Oklahoma's not throwing him, although they're 14 and 16 in the league. They threw him against Texas last Thursday.
2-out hit batter and a single, got first and third with 2 on, 2 out now from Missouri.
What do you think's going through Missouri's mind right now? I mean, it's been a complete disaster of a season, save for one weekend.
Well, you watch any of that series at College Station, they were, obviously, throwing a dog or scrap. They were so damn excited. They were just finally a little sunshine on their miserable season, and then they get just destroyed at home by Mississippi State, like 60-10. And the only game they didn't get run ruled was 25-7. So but no, it's just part of it. Charlie, it's kind of like if they were getting beat 8-1, let's get this over with.
Yeah.
Okay. They're in the game. And so it's as long as they hang in there. But you that's why you want to put away a team. That, if it goes south, it's going south, and it ain't going to they're not going to they're not going to grind.
Don't give them any confidence. They get a little confidence.
Let's give any confidence. Any piece of hope.
Yeah.
Hell with confidence. They far beyond the confidence point.
They could have mailed this in. It looked like they kind of mailed it in against Mississippi State. This will go down as the most bizarre season I've ever seen.
How would you say they mailed it in at the high point of the interest of their season? They just got their ass whooped.
The series against Mississippi, you don't think they mailed it in? Losing?
No.
Okay.
They got destroyed, as they did for most of the season.
Okay.
But they were at the apex of their coming off the sweep at College Station. They're only 3 wins of the season. They won all 3. They're excited as hell. They were more excited about going to practice that week than what they were at all. They just got...
Could have fooled me the way they played.
Charlie, it's not... Well, they're not good.
Right.
Okay, but it's not because... They didn't try. They're just not good. We always they got killed, they didn't try.
Llegaron los nuevos McCrispy Strips, listos para aventurarse en la mezcla de mayo ketchup, la barbecue que quedó en el fondo de la cajita, hot fudge sundae y en la nueva creamy chili McCrispy Strip Dip. Los nuevos McCrispy Strips, ahora en McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Offer valid on standard browsers, U.S. only.
When I heard about Date My Age, I thought, I gotta check that out. I'm getting older, sure, but I don't feel like I'm done with, the fun parts of life, like connection and desire, excitement. You don't really find those things at the grocery store or the doctor's office, so I went online. Date My Age made dating an adventure. It gave me a chance to feel like a teenager again. The thrill of seeing someone new and saying, wow. I could send a spicy gift, start a video chat, or just message my compliments to a beautiful woman.
Whether you love, or just like to look, the fun is waiting for you at Date My Age.
Sure, I was skeptical, but Date My Age is safe, secure, and fun.
Get 60% off when you join at datemyage.com today. That's datemyage.com to connect with thousands of singles worldwide. datemyage.com.
No, they tried. They got. That's what happened. That's what happened for the majority of the conference season. I mean,
Well,
did Oklahoma go there and beat them? Run ruled them three times. We talked about that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I mean, we've seen that before. No, they didn't. Now, after like in the second game where they're getting run ruled again, okay, maybe at that point. But Mississippi State took any type of hope away in the early innings of all three of those games. Now, did they kind of drag their heads at that point? But this was the absolute high point of their level of excitement, for the season.
Well, they got demolished. They're not getting demolished.
They're not good.
They're not getting demolished today. They've got the tying run at third and the go-ahead run at first with 2 outs.
Here we go now. All right, where's the SEC tournament being played?
Hoover.
Plays a little bit bigger than most of the SEC venues, huh?
It does.
Okay. We've seen some of this before, right?
Some of what?
The very average pitchers go into the Hoover and
oh, yeah, especially fly ball pitchers.
Have you seen this before?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's the Big Ten tournament being played?
The Big Ten it's in Omaha. That's right. I forgot. Yeah, it's in Omaha.
Okay. How's it play?
That's a big park.
Okay.
That park plays very
so
big.
your down-the-line pitching might be able to – I mean, this is a classic. I mean, watch any of those games in Athens. I mean, this is – I mean, what part – and to your point, you've been to more SEC venues than me. I've only watched a lot of them on TV. But for the most part, 95% of them play small.
There's not a until Oklahoma and Texas got in the league, there was not a pitcher's park in the league. Not a one. Even with the remodels in a lot of these places, not a one. I need to see some more games in Oklahoma. It's a pretty big park. LSU played up there in a deep freeze, so I don't want to put too much on that. Dish Falk is a pitcher's park. It's a big park. There's a fair amount of foul territory. I would call that a pitcher's park. Every one of the
Oklahoma, the wind was blowing in.
It was freezing. The wind was blowing in. So I don't know how Oklahoma plays all the time. I haven't seen a ton of games there. I've seen enough games at Texas to know that's a pitcher's park. Every other one, they're all hitter's parks. Every single one of them. I forgot Nebraska was in the Big Ten. That's only been 15 years now, right? You had a team. You never know how
Texas
these teams
ran them out. Remember?
Nothing. Yeah, I did. You never know how these teams are going to play. Cal, today, who's in the ACC. Cross-country trip.
They're playing in Raleigh-Durham?
They're playing the Durham Bulls.
Yeah, that's where they played last year.
Okay, so they go in to play a Miami team that is, I think, on the right side of the bubble, but nothing great. Cal's 9-21 in the ACC this year. Their season, they're 23-30 overall. Their season ends as soon as this tournament is over, unless they win it. They went in there and blew the doors off. They scored 9 runs in the first 4 innings. They beat Miami today 12-2. They run ruled them.
During that pod system where they play 4-team round robins, play 3 games apiece and then get to a championship game.
I really should go check that now that they've added Cal and
that's what they. But I don't know since they expanded.
Yeah,
that's how they did it last year.
Yeah, I actually before the SEC went to single elimination, I preferred that format. To what the SEC was doing, where they went single, then double, then single. I never liked
fan friendly. Gives you. I'm going to watch 3 games.
I'm going to get a minimum amount of games. Yeah, I need to check that honestly. But you're right. That's how they had run it so far.
But they don't invite everybody, right? There's no way they could play. I
wouldn't think
guaranteed 3 games.
Not with Cal and
they got more teams in the SEC.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you can only play so much base. You get 4 baseball games in a day if you start at 9:00 in the morning and you're willing to go past midnight. That's how you get those. That's how you get those things in.
Nothing beats bubble time in college baseball. Like, all right, who's in which conference? what park are they playing in? And how many teams are getting in?
And is it double elimination or single elimination? Alabama gets out of the.
Charlie, this is where LSU baseball fans are like the North Carolina Duke fans in basketball. We're like, we're playing for seeding. Do we care?
Right.
You know?
They don't. They don't.
And this is where, the Ole Miss fans, it's life or death. Sean Tui. What year was that? Sean Tui? 1980? Something like that?
It was 80 because that's – well, no, 80 was the only year LSU won the tournament.
45 years. Oh, okay, so 81.
81.
That'd be 81, huh?
Yeah. LSU had their best team ever. They lost to Georgia in the semifinals and Dominique Wilkins.
I think that might be right.
Yeah, that was the Final Four LSU team. They lost to Georgia in the semifinals of the.
And then Ole Miss beat them in the finals because Dominique didn't go They didn't go. They
right
went to the Final Four the year after he left.
Did not make it. Find out what's up.
That had to be 81 because 82 Georgia beat North Carolina in regional final to go play NC State in Albuquerque in the Final Four.
Right.
Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive. Went over there for an oil change last week. Been over there. Had a slow leak. Okay. Well, can we plug it this time? Well, next time. All right, let's change this tire. All right. That's the thing about Jason. He's going to try and find you a repair option. When it's time to replace, he's going to let you know as well. I don't want you to be unsafe, out on the road. His hours are 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. They're located at 8445 Segan Lane, Segan and Perkins, right across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery. K&M Automotive, your trusted source for auto repair. Anything that engine light comes on, we'll figure out exactly what's going on from AC repair this time of the year to electrical to transmission to belts and hoses, AC repair, or just a simple oil change. K&M Automotive, it's the only place I take my vehicle. Segan at Perkins.
Live at Mike Anderson's, live at Lunch 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
All right, update from Hoover, Alabama, in a game that they cannot afford to lose. They are up 2-1 in the bottom of the seventh. 2 on, 1 out. Runners at first and second as they try and provide a little insurance for themselves. Missouri stranded 2 in the top of the seventh after the leadoff man had gotten picked off. Let's go out to Andy Isco. Andy, we're down to the Final Four, both the NHL and the NBA. And so, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fine, and of course, both of those sports get started tonight. And the great thing about the this time of the year with the playoffs, you've got a game in each sport every night. You got the East-West, etc. in both sports, and
right.
That makes for a lot of exciting action, especially in the hockey, where we've seen some amazing games. Can't say that much for the NBA. There have been way too many blowouts. At the same time, we've had a number of remarkable comebacks. I'm just wondering what the ratings are, because if you took the ratings after about 3 quarters in some of the games, they'd be very, very low, only to see those ratings bounce back as these games got a lot closer.
We had a week.
See the same thing in these series. I'm especially intrigued by the Indiana Knicks series.
All right, sacrifice fly for RBI. That produces a run now. They increase their lead to 3-1 now. 2 outs runner at second base, bottom of the seventh, in what would be a damaging loss for Alabama on that bubble to host, but trying to avoid that with an 8-9 RPI is what we looked at recently. Well, Andy, we had that week opening weekend of the NBA, but man, we had a stretch where these games were unbelievable. But there's no doubt, Game 6 in New York on Friday night, and then Game 7 in Oklahoma City on Sunday afternoon were terrible. I mean, they didn't produce. The NHL didn't produce any better in their deciding games over the weekend as well. But here we are, and it's Oklahoma City and the rest, as they are minus 175 to win it all, and then the rest of them. Let's talk about these games specifically. Tonight, the Thunder, 7-point favorite, 17.5 at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And tomorrow night, the first game, the Knicks, 4.5 and 223 against the Pacers.
Yeah, and I haven't decided if we're going to do anything tonight. I know tomorrow night in the Indiana-New York game, I'm looking over that total, which is, I think, around 223 and a half, depending upon where you shop. Both of these teams are capable of putting a lot of points on the board. Indiana's a team that I think has been, I don't want to say disrespected, but perhaps unrecognized throughout a good part of the season. Remember, they took Boston, into the Eastern. They played Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, so they had the experience coming in. They've got some really good players. I don't think Siakam gets as much credit as perhaps he deserves. Of course, Halliburton, the big player on that team, and then of course Brunson has some good support with the Cat, etc. for the Knicks. I think that's going to be a very entertaining season. I think it's going to be very competitive. If you look at a lot of the games that these teams played, other than a couple of blowouts, a lot of these games that they played in both of their first two series were very tightly contested. Of course, we remember the Knicks in a number of very close games with Detroit in that opening round. So that's going to be, I think, the more entertaining of the two series because I think it's going to be more competitive. As far as the one tonight with Oklahoma City and Minnesota, I'm looking to determine whether or not I want to play Minnesota tonight or in Game 2. I like them tonight. I like the situation. They're a very talented team. They disappointed for probably up through January, and then in February they started playing the way that a lot of people were expected them to play after having made the Western Conference Finals last year, but falling short of the NBA Finals. It's a spot. Oklahoma City's coming off. They do have a little bit of, they did have a little bit of extra rest after their last game, having Sunday and Monday off after that seventh game. But that seventh game was a little.
Offer valid on standard browsers, U.S. only.
When I heard about Date My Age, I thought, I gotta check that out. I mean, I'm getting older, sure, but I don't feel like I'm done with, the fun parts of life, like connection and desire, excitement. You don't really find those things at the grocery store or the doctor's office, so I went online. Date My Age made dating an adventure. It gave me a chance to feel like a teenager again. The thrill of seeing someone new and saying, wow. I could send a spicy gift, start a video chat, or just message my compliments to a beautiful woman.
Whether you love, or just like to look, the fun is waiting for you at Date My Age.
Sure, I was skeptical, but Date My Age is safe, secure, and fun.
Get 60% off when you join at datemyage.com today. That's datemyage.com to connect with thousands of singles worldwide. datemyage.com.
A bit easier than a lot of us expected. Minnesota's been rested. I think they clinched their series last Wednesday. I look for these teams to split the two games in Oklahoma City. I expect Minnesota to probably get off to a pretty good start, try and take advantage of maybe a little bit of the extra rest that they have. So maybe Minnesota play in the first half will be the way I'll look tonight.
All right. And any value to the underdogs in these two conference final series?
Absolutely.
That they have advanced to this round. They played in this round last year because playoff seasoning sure seems to make a difference.
It probably does in the NBA as much as any sport. You go back decades, you even remember when the Chicago Bulls had to pay their dues for a couple of years when Detroit was the king of the NBA. And then, of course, in more recent years, you've had other teams have to pay their dues while other little mini dynasties were developing. So it seems to be that way. It's about a 3 to 6 year cycle in the NBA with the teams on top. So I certainly can make a case. I'd like to see, you mentioned that Oklahoma City is minus 175 to win it all. I'd like to see if there's a prop up there that you take the field, the other three teams against OKC, what that price would be.
Heck, well, if you just play them individually, it's going to be like plus 400, plus 450.
Yeah, exactly. I think either Indiana or Minnesota will advance to the finals. I wouldn't be surprised if it's either. Again, because we have the experience of playing in the finals last year against an Oklahoma City team that made some progress last year, but still a relatively young newcomer. Same thing for the Knicks. They've made it to the playoffs last year and advancing obviously this year. I think experience counts a lot. Obviously, if I'm looking for Indiana or Minnesota to win, it probably means the series goes 6 games and they clinch it on their home court in Game 6. As opposed to going on the road, but I still would not be surprised if both series go to a Game 7, one of these teams pulls the road upset.
based on our local shop, if you played $100 on all three teams to win it all, minus Oklahoma City, depending on who would, the low one would be the Knicks, plus 250, and then the Pacers would be plus $4. So after you lose your other two bets on that. Yeah. So, no, that's available. There's no doubt. And as I say that, Oklahoma City moved from minus 175 to minus 145 now, Andy. So
I understand. Look, they showed some vulnerability. I mean, they won 68 games in the regular season. Now, they did struggle against a very good Denver team after blowing out their first opponent in 4 games. But Denver was a team to be respected. Again, a lot of people did not give Denver the credit that they seemingly deserved as a recent defending champion, as a matter of fact. So I was not surprised that Denver put up a fight. I was surprised that it took Oklahoma City 7 games to get through the series.
There you go. All right, tomorrow night's game, but you got a side in that one, the Knicks?
I'm going to play the over in that one, as I mentioned.
Okay.
Indiana has had a tendency to play a lot of really close games, so I want to see where do you show the line right now?
4.5.
Yeah, that's a little bit too cheap for me to take Indiana. I was hoping to get 5.5 or 6. Maybe I'll do something in game, but I'll be starting off the game with a play on the over.
Doesn't it seem with the Knicks, too, even with all of their home court advantage, including their home court route in Game 6, that they are, that the home, there's just the results. They're better. They've got better results on the road than they do at home.
Yeah. I mean, even the games they won against Detroit, especially that first game where they had to go on that 21-0 run to win. I mean, and we saw that even in the Boston series where they overcame deficits. That was what made Game 6 so surprising, is that the Knicks won so easily, because if you really take a look, what they played 48 minutes, 6 games. I'd say for probably 75% of those 6 games, Boston was the better basketball team. But in the final 12 minutes, the final 8 minutes, the Knicks did what they needed to do, and they did it several times. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, again, this would be a very competitive series. I was hoping to get a little bit more. I'm going to hope for the Knicks to win this first game, and then I'll probably almost certainly be on Indiana in Game 2.
One thing we've seen in Major League Baseball, we've seen some streaks, man. And forget, like, the big boys, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, and some of the big boys out of Philadelphia. We've seen streaks out of Minnesota, St. Louis, Kansas City. Is Cincinnati on one of those streaks now?
I still don't have trust in them. I do like tonight's game under the total, the matchup between Martinez and Falter. Both of these guys are doing very well. And one thing, a lot of people do look at ERA, which is a decent number. I prefer to look. I look at that as well in combination with WHIP, which is walks and hits per inning pitch. The basic thing is, it's kind of like in baseball on offense. It's getting hits, and if you string hits together, you score runs. Well, in baseball, it's avoiding putting runners on or allowing runners on base through hits and walks. And if you can do that, you prevent you decrease the possibility of damage being done by a multi-run home run, for example, with a lot of these guys. So both of these pitchers, Martinez and Falter, have been very effective over their last 3 starts in preventing base runners. And the way that I evaluate numerically bullpens, these are both average bullpens, so I don't mind playing under a number of 8 for the full game. Not sure I'm going to play under for the first 5, although last night was one of the outstanding situations where I played both under first 5 and under the full game, and that was the Kansas City-San Francisco game. Both of these teams have not been hitting greatly of late, except for San Francisco in that series in Arizona last week. Kansas City hasn't been hitting well, and both Ray and Bubik are Cy Young contenders in their respective leagues, putting up outstanding numbers, and that game was a 3-1 game, but it was 0-0, I think, entering the 8th.
What about the Dodgers? They're fade right now. Obviously, it's a little late to the party. I did release the Angels and Otterlocks last night, the Diamondbacks that hit last night. But again, Friday night against the Angels, they are minus 325. Saturday night, they are minus 225. Sunday afternoon, they are minus. Where is it? Minus 220, and then again last night, slighter favorite, but have lost 4 in a row. But not just 4 in a row, but they've lost 9 of 15 9 of 15 for the Dodgers, and you know they're prohibitive favorites in most of those games.
Yeah, and it shows that even the best teams in baseball that are predicted to have the most wins go through streaks. Not necessarily as dramatic as that, given the expectations of the betting public and the lines makers for the season. But yeah, we see streaks like that, like that a lot. Now tonight, in fact, I was speaking with someone about. We still think Atlanta has a chance, despite their poor start, to win the National League East. Philadelphia and the Mets still have the lead. Atlanta still has a strong team. Strider's coming back tonight. In fact, I'm going to look at laying the 1.5 against Washington, I believe, in that one. But you take a look at the upcoming schedule. The Phillies and the Mets have some easy and some difficult games. The Mets right now in Boston, then they play the Dodgers. And then the Phillies, of course, have a couple of easier games coming up. But Philly and Atlanta meet, I believe it's starting next Tuesday. And probably on next Monday when both teams are off, I'll be looking to make a play on Atlanta to win the National League East. If the Mets and Phillies are so-so over the next 5-6 days, and if Atlanta can put a little winning streak together.
Vegas Andy 711 at Vegas Andy 711 on X, Twitter. Andy, great stuff as always. Good luck to you this week, buddy.
Have a great week, guys. Take care.
Don't forget our friends at Workbox and Workbox Services. Workbox, check them out online as well at workboxllc.com. Workbox is one of Louisiana's leaders in construction, industrial, and residential on-site services. More than 25 years of experience in the industry, a capable provider for all of your storage container needs. We can also customize containers for all types of applications for rent or for sale. Do shelves, lighting, tool rooms, offices, lunchrooms, hunting camps. All of these can come insulated for climate-controlled units as well. Workbox Services and WorkboxLLC.com. Give my buddy Martin Padiella a call, 343-4886 Workbox.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jimmy, I know you'll want to join me in congratulating Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson. Apparently, they are engaged.
Engaged, baby.
Yeah.
Yep,
the New York Times, The Athletic, reporting that they are engaged. We need to send a gift, don't we? I mean, this is going to provide us with so many topics over the next 6 months, probably. We should find out where they're registered.
I heard a tease this morning.
Maybe like a gravy boat or something.
They've got to change. We got to change with the Belichick-Hudson relationship. And they were like, oh, yeah, they jamming her up. They're running her off. Oh, they're engaged. Love is in the air.
You think they should do this in August? You know, it's a nice August wedding. He doesn't have much going on in August, does he?
Charlie, she controls more of this situation than you realize.
She may be the most important figure in ACC football.
Yeah.
Right now. Hour number 2.
Sky blue. You better start warming up to her, baby.
Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And return here at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch. For Wesley at Nicholson. Top of the 9th, and the nightmare season for Missouri is just about at an end. They trail by 3 to open here in the 9th against Alabama. They finish up. That will be the worst season officially in the SEC since they went to this 30-game format and counting the postseason. All right, first class. There were 2, I thought, great things that happened over the weekend. I mean, greatness in a I'm sorry, an all-time setting, okay? The first one was at the PGA Championship, and Scottie Scheffler won. Very few things aggravate me more than when somebody's at the beginning part of their career and they're compared to the all-time greats. To me, that's something that is earned. So I don't like to see anybody put on a list with Tiger and Jack too early, no matter what they're doing. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put him on a list with Tiger and Jack because he has earned a distinction. This is just one way to sort the stats, but he won his third major and 15 or more PGA tournaments by the age of 29. Tiger and Jack are the only two to do that. We're in an era where there's maybe more what I would call upper level to elite golfers than maybe ever. I mean, Rory McIlroy or Justin Thomas or John Rahm or, Dustin Johnson is kind of faded now here later in his career. But Colin Morikawa. I could go over the list of guys with multiple majors, and it's a pretty healthy list. And Scheffler's at the top of all of this. And I said this yesterday. If you want to watch golf, Scottie Scheffler is great. I mean, he's a great golfer. He's got every shot. He can do everything. He can play everywhere. I think that there's a really good chance he's going to win a career Grand Slam. Can't guarantee that stuff, but I think he will. He is infuriating if you try to either bet on golf or if you are a fan of a particular golfer that ain't Scottie Scheffler. Because if you're – let me ask you this way, Jimmy. We like Sam Burns. LSU golfer. He's had a tremendous amount of success. He has not won a major yet. How much would Sam Burns Burns is ranked somewhere between 20 and 35 in the world? I'm doing this out of my head. What would Sam Burns' odds of winning a major go up? How much would they go up if Scottie Scheffler were a carpenter? If he didn't play golf, if he was just off the tour. I mean, they're not that far apart in age. How much?
They're best friends.
Yeah. So
they stay together at the same house. And,
how much does Sam
kids.
Burns' odds go down over the course of his career, winning a major or multiple majors because Scottie Scheffler's in the game?
Well, it goes down with trouble. He's not close against the rest of the field.
All right,
he has not been close. I mean, let's just be fair.
Okay, then Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa. I'm trying to go with guys with multiple majors. Jordan Spieth. How much do their odds go down of winning another major because this guy's on the tour? How many is he going to suck up?
The odds go down, but, I mean, they're not all these guys aren't like runners-up. They got a bunch of runners-up. I mean, I don't think it's a Tiger Field thing just yet. This you have to ask of Rory McIlroy. I mean, he's the guy that's, closest to his level.
And he's got more majors than Scheffler, at least at this point.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 3.
He's got
Is he
3.
going to get a career slam? I mean, he's got a ways to go. He's off to a great start.
There's no guarantee.
I thought it was interesting. They pulled his driver and checked it. They pulled Rory's. He talked about his driver after. Rory did not. But, well, man, he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. But, man, that's just – this golf is tricky, man. It is. You can't okay, he's got this many. He's projected to get this many. Yeah. It's a little trickier than that.
No, it's a lot trickier than that. I remember, just because I followed his career so closely because he's from Louisiana, Hal Sutton. Hal Sutton, when he won the PGA Championship in 1983, was looked at as one of the up-and-coming golfers. Jack was in his 40s at that point. They were like, is this one of the guys that's going to take over for Jack? Is he going to win multiple majors? Hal Sutton was an impeccable golfer at that point in his career. And then he had some problems off the course. He got married multiple times. His attention got distracted, and he never won another major again. He had a great career. He was a Ryder Cup captain, although they didn't win. Right. He won plenty of tournaments, but he never won another major.
Burns right now would not be on the Ryder Cup team.
No.
He was a borderline selection.
And I just picked Sam because we know him. But I could have easily picked JT or Morikawa or somebody else that's in his relative same age. Anyway, Scheffler was great this weekend, and we're going to get to see a lot more of that.
He had to be because he made it very non-eventful. Man, that was a non-eventful back nine.
The other greatness was, and if you don't watch horse racing, you watch one race a year, watch the Kentucky Derby, and you're not really into it might be a little bit hard to appreciate. So I don't know if I've got a good analogy here. In fact, I don't. I kind of thought one. But journalism, who ran a very strong race in the Kentucky Derby and came up short, ran one of the best races I've ever seen at the Preakness in a Triple Crown race because Jimmy, maybe you can come up with a better analogy than an analogy I couldn't, of what it takes for a horse in a stakes race of that caliber to be bumped and still come out of it and run them all down.
It's called trip handicapping, and he certainly had a lot of stuff that you could have overlooked if he finished, say, third in this one. And said the other part of it is this Preakness field maybe wasn't the level of your normal Triple Crown race, and where he could go through so much trouble and still, just outclass everybody else.
If Sovereignty had been in the field, say.
He's not. Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. If Sovereignty is in his field, that he would be able to go through all that trouble and still get there. But to split horses with all that, it's high risk. But man, damn, it takes a special horse to get through there. To get through there and still have that much left after just running previous, 2 weeks prior, where he's got a little less in the tank in some of the new shooters. So there's a lot of opinions, and in my final one was, damn, he stole the weekend, because that's the only drama that was around in sports this past weekend. And you sit there and you say, all right, well, at least we got it set up. Mile and a quarter, Saratoga, unbelievable setting. It's not a Triple Crown, but we got a match race, baby. We got Sovereignty versus journalism. Nope. Journalism ain't running that one. So, when it's easy to bet with other people's chips and criticize Sovereignty for not going back in running in a Preakness, all right? And to keep the Triple Crown alive after he clipped heels, all right? And he's compromised a little bit. It's easy for me to try and say, okay, Sovereignty, let's go. Let's get this thing done, in the Belmont. Well, we got it. Because Sovereignty versus journalism, we want to see that, huh?
Sure.
There's some build up there.
Yeah.
I mean, and out of nowhere, the expectation level for the Preakness was really low, but because you had all of this circumstance, which it's not scripted, that's obvious. No, it was way more exciting than you anticipated. But the horse racing industry,
so the short turnaround,
I get it away, man.
The short turnaround, I get it. Do you think we'll see him at the Breeders' Club?
Yes.
Okay, I do too. I
yes,
think
we'll have to wait to the
class.
fall to get these. But then that's when you got maybe the Travers, maybe later. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
One of the two, depending on how they come out, they could run in that one.
The Travers and Haskell's the other one, right?
The Haskell is
not as big.
It's not going to draw as strong of a field, but it is $1 million race around that time of the season as well. And we have seen some super horses, coming out of the Triple Crown, racing a Haskell at Monmouth.
Second class.
What do you feel?
I think that they will both run in the Classic. I do. I think that I can't speak to their schedule between now and then, but I think that they will both run in the Classic. Yeah, I do. Second class, good with a chance to be great. Drew Brees was in town doing. They opened another one of his facilities, and he was talking to the media. He weighed in on the Saints quarterback situation, the Derek Carr thing. He went through his relationship with Carr and all that. The point that got my attention was he believes that the Saints need to add a veteran quarterback to the room for next season. This is his quote. I've always been a believer that, especially for young quarterbacks, it's great to have a veteran quarterback in there that has some experience, that knows how to prepare, can develop the process, can help you, and can be a buffer between you, the starting quarterback, and the coaching staff, because honestly, you need that. You definitely need that. All right, I got to take Breeze's comments because they come from the future Hall of Famer and one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. I had kind of been of the opinion. The Saints signed a backup quarterback last week, Hunter Deckers, out of rookie minicamp, and they got 4. They could go to camp with 4 guys who have played little or none in the NFL. I kind of thought that might be the way to go, just because you bring in a veteran quarterback, you soak up some reps. I need all of these young guys to get all the reps they can. The veteran quarterback's not coming in to bridge the gap as a backup does usually when a starter goes down. Hey, can you win a couple of games with this guy? There's really nobody out there that drives a whole lot of enthusiasm towards winning games. So I said, well, hey, you know what? Go with all the young guys. But if Breeze says they need a veteran, I got to take that with the reverence that Breeze's comments and opinion deserve. So if they're going to do that, doesn't it have to be Teddy Bridgewater? I mean, if you want a quarterback to come in that, first of all, knows about the pressure coming in to be a starter, Bridgewater was a first-round pick, that knows about overcoming setbacks. I mean, they took this guy off the field in an ambulance, maybe his career over off the practice field. He's been with, I think it's 5 or 6 different organizations. And so he knows about being a starting quarterback in the NFL. He knows about being a successful starting quarterback in the NFL. But what's the last thing you want from a guy like that? Somebody who comes in and says, hey, wait a minute, I still, it's still about me. I still want to play. I still want to, maybe make some waves. Everybody likes Teddy Bridgewater. I have never heard any teammate, any coach, anybody say anything but good things about Teddy Bridgewater. So if you're going to you got Carson Wentz out there. That really doesn't do a whole lot for me. I'm not necessarily, until Breeze said this, thinking that they absolutely had to have a veteran quarterback. But if they do, doesn't it have to be Teddy? I mean, Teddy left the game to go coach high school kids. They won a state championship. I mean, if you want a veteran quarterback to mentor these guys and not make it about himself, doesn't it just have to be Teddy Bridgewater? Rookie coach, rookie quarterback, basically 3 rookie quarterbacks, you really want to get down to it. Doesn't it have to be Teddy? I mean, is there anybody better that fits that mentorship role, that teaching role, that bring everybody together role, good clubhouse guy? Doesn't it have to be Teddy?
7 different teams over the course of his career. All, like you said, he always talked about how nothing but great things to say about him, but really didn't play him a whole lot. And Miami Northwestern, back to his roots, where he played his high school ball before he chose to go to Louisville over a lot of big boys. That's right. They won a state championship in his first year as head coach. And,
yeah. A couple weeks later, he was with the Lions in camp, as an emergency guy.
Might just stay put. So
he has, because he went back and he was on Detroit's bench in the playoffs. So obviously he felt enough to just go back there, and maybe he goes back and coaches high school. Maybe he doesn't do this, but I'd sure make a call to him, because if anybody's going to do it, it would be Teddy.
Louisville connection.
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's right. A little bit of time between them, but yeah, that's true. No class this week. I'll tell you what I'm tired of hearing about. I'm tired of hearing about controversies where there's no controversies. I'm tired of hearing about pot stirring, censoring myself here a little bit, where there's no pot to be stirred. The WNBA season started this past weekend, and the Fever were playing the Sky. This means Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And what did you have? You had Angel Reese, who pushed off for a rebound, committed a foul, wasn't called. Okay, no problem. Happens all the time. And have a clear path to the basket, and was fouled hard on a play on the ball by Caitlin Clark. Reese got up. She was not happy about it. That happens all the time, too. Aaliyah Boston stepped in between them. Teammate of Caitlin Clark broke it up, went to the free throw line. Everything is, it's a hard basketball foul. People get upset about hard basketball fouls all the time. They upgraded this thing. I didn't think they needed to. I thought it was a common foul. It's a hard common foul, but it's a foul that anybody would make, okay? After the game, Caitlin Clark said, it's a basketball play. It's a hard foul. Angel Reese said, it's a hard foul. I thought the ref got it right. Let's move on. Oh, no, we can't do that. We got to make this about Caitlin Clark against Angel Reese. They do this every time, okay? It's got to be something, one of them's got to hate the other one, or one of them has got to, you got to make it a race thing, okay? It was a hard basketball foul. The best rivalries, okay, are organically made. And you had a great organic start to this thing. You had 2 big games in the NCAA tournament. Each of them won one of them. And they move on to the pro level. But no. It's got to be about something else. It's got to be about some deep-rooted hate between them. It doesn't. It can be about basketball, okay? I don't know how you feel about it, but, when Bird and Magic were biggest rivals, I mean, it may have been about race for somebody, for some people. To me, it was about great basketball. It was about a lot of great basketball. And for those two guys, it was about great basketball. It was about competing against each other. It didn't need any other storylines. So watch the basketball, please. And if something else comes up that's legit, fine. But if it's a hard basketball foul, can we leave it to basketball? That's what the two girls wanted to do. At least that's what they said publicly. That's it.
Did they get any of the initial run because of, the look, of LSU's roster was a lot different looking than the Iowa roster? And then the two best players on the teams were different looking, speak a different way, different background. So you had some of that in there anyway, Charlie.
The rivalry, to me, got ignited when Reese did the "You Can't See Me," which Clark had done to, I forgot who it was in the game before that when they won.
Oh, yeah, she gave it back to her.
Because that's when I thought that the rivalry, that's when non-basketball people took a look at it for the first time. That's when it started. And that was something different. Is she taunting? Well, Clark didn't think so. She said, I've done that too. That's when I thought the rivalry took like,
Reese.
Well,
no doubt.
It was a national championship.
Well, it was in your face.
Absolutely.
I mean, Reese is.
Yes, she did.
I mean, Clark is doing it, but I mean, she's not going out of her way to get in somebody's face and doing it. So,
she did in that tournament game against, I forgot who it was, but it wasn't the national championship.
She went. How close was she when she did it?
She was pretty close, Jimmy.
Okay.
I mean, she said that.
Okay. All right. Well, then, move on.
But it wasn't the national championship game, so it didn't get nearly the attention.
If you didn't think Reese raised it up a level or two.
Yes, I do.
Of course.
That's why I think
that's her. And that's her attitude.
And that's her
persona. Yeah. She's gonna get in your face. She's gonna pull your hair. And get a rebound like she did against South Carolina. But you know what?
It's a physical player.
What I was gonna say was that she can play for me anytime. She's going to do what she has to do. And look, it ain't easy. You got to get busy down on the boards, and she does it. And if she's going to get hit with some stuff, she's going to get away with some stuff. All right, that's fine. It's part of the player that she is. But she's going to play hard. If she picks up now, she does some cheap fouls as well. This is why she couldn't stay on the floor. She's done that in her college career. She does that there. But she's part of her game is intimidation, and she ain't used to the fair-haired child slapping and making a hard foul back. So there ain't no doubt that Clark was targeted, and they were going to try and bully her and intimidate her and throw her off her game because she's skilled. Her game coming in is skilled. To the UConn girls, the first game that they beat UConn and knock them out in the semifinals. Taurasi and the other one. Oh, no.
Subert.
Oh, Scott, this big girl basketball, she's going to have a transition period. Oh, there was some UConn hate, a little bit of whatever you want to call it. It was like, oh, she's got to prove herself because this is grown women basketball. Their words.
No,
right? And they completely tried to bully her and target her and go out of her way. When some people are like, hey, she should be treated differently because now they don't have to fly a commercial and other things and all of the attention and the ratings and the eyeballs and television revenue and everything else that she brings. So there's a little give and take in all of this. But,
And all of that was true last year. And all of that will be true probably going forward. I'm talking about this play. This play was nothing more than a hard foul in a basketball game. That's it.
If Larry Bird did it to Magic Johnson right out the chute, it would be, with this era of journalism or media, it would be tough. It's because those two. There's not two other people in that league. That same foul will get the run for obvious reasons.
Well,
so they're trying to latch on to what they have built up organically and trying to maintain it. And
you're going to remember this.
Did Reese come after her a little bit?
She did.
Okay.
And Boston stepped in. And,
okay.
You're going to remember this play. Julia serving, Dr. J, and Larry Bird. There's a famous photo. They got into it in the Eastern Conference Finals. I forget which year. And they physically had their hands around each other's throats. You've seen this picture, right? It's kind of a famous picture. Julius Erving and Larry Bird win at each other. Okay, that Boston-Philadelphia thing was every bit as heated as Boston-LA was back then in the early '80s. Okay, and it was a hard basketball foul. They were competing against each other. The level of media was a lot different back then, but it was about hard fouls. It was about basketball. It wasn't about anything off the court. Those two guys talked about it later. They signed pictures of that. That's my only point. This was about basketball. It wasn't about anything else.
The people covering the league, it's still going to get a little run. I mean, went back in the day when they were hard fouling Jordan, they got some run.
And I don't mind that. Yeah, okay? the Pistons against Jordan,
And so, but then when she kind of punches back, I mean, but she is not going to be able to stand up physically to Angel Reese if they kind of go into a physical conference, like a tit for tat physically. Skill wise, she ain't going tit for tat or the other way.
No, and that's why I leave Boston step in.
But I do give her, and that's Boston's role. That should be.
Yeah,
I got to protect my star.
If something happens to Steph Curry, is he fighting or is Draymond Green going?
No, and that's part of all of it. But I'm not going to totally. I mean, Man, they just started it. I mean, they just started their season, and here you go. Oh man, that's room service to try and give them some counterpoint topics for that league. The league needs all it can get, and that's the two that they have going for them right now. And Reese has got some endorsements too.
Plenty.
Okay, she's got plenty. So here are your visible stars, and the one punching back. Oh, I'm sorry. No, they're going to run with it. They're very, very. You gonna tell me you're surprised?
Come
on. You may not just.
I don't mind.
You may dislike it.
I don't
mind.
But
if you're gonna tell me you're surprised,
I'm not. I don't mind playing up the basketball part of the rivalry. I encourage.
No, I'm talking about these personalities going at it a little bit. One foul that they would not be talking about on any other league. You cannot be surprised
with anybody else. No, I'm not. I'm not. First class, second class, no class, brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Man, look, here over the summer, if you're having, get-togethers and things like that, you're making a jambalaya, you're making a little stew, you're making some red beans, make it with Supreme Rice. Of course, never too early to start looking towards football tailgating. Pick it up at all of your Rouses, all of your AG food stores, all of your Walmarts, the Jasmine, the long grain, the medium grain, the brown, and the parboiled rice, which is your favorite, Jimmy, when you're cooking at home with Supreme Rice.
I love it, man. I love that parboil. I've been trying to mimic restaurant rice for all the time, and it's just like, all right, there's a little bit too much residue here. All right, it's not quite as big and firm and fluffy as the restaurant-style rice. I mean, you get it all with that parboil rice. It is outstanding, and you get all the nutrients and vitamins that you get with our brown rice, our long-grain brown rice. So, hey, man, you get the best of both worlds, and we are supporting Louisiana farmers, not just current Louisiana farmers, but the people at Supreme Rice are going out of their way, doing things to support future Louisiana rice farmers as well.
Climate Smart program promotes water conservation and reducing methane emissions. Look for the labels on your Supreme Rice packaging. For more information and great recipes, go to SupremeRice.com. Live at lunch from Mike Anderson's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, the nightmare season for Missouri is finally put to rest. They lose to Alabama 4-1. So Alabama keeps their hopes alive, and Missouri will put the gear away. I said it before, I'll say it again, the most bizarre season I've ever seen in my life in SEC baseball. 0-24, win 3 straight, lose the last 4. I have no explanation. I can't even say that's baseball. I have no explanation for it at all. Kentucky and Oklahoma going here in about 40 minutes or so. The starting pitchers, both teams are pitching down. Scott Rouse, they talked a little bit maybe about Kentucky bringing back their ace in this game, Nate Harris, because he had not thrown very much on Thursday. He threw only 60 pitches. They may very well be saving him in relief today. but they will throw Scott Rouse in game 1. He's 4-1, ERA of 5.22 with a whip of 140. In Southeastern Conference play, Rouse has thrown 18 1/3 innings with an ERA of 8.31. Oklahoma, who's in a little bit better situation than Kentucky, both record and RPI-wise, is going to throw Jaden Barfield in game number 2. His ERA for the season is 4.91, but he's only thrown 14 2/3 innings, and in Southeastern Conference play, he's only thrown 3 2/3 innings and given up 3 runs for an ERA of 7.36. So both teams are throwing down, considerably down in Oklahoma's place. We knew they weren't going to bring back Witherspoon, but they're not bringing back any of the guys that they may have thrown as openers today. Oklahoma 14-16 in the league. They're 27 RPI. They're not going to host, but they're not on the bubble either. They're going to be in. They may actually even be a 3 seed, but if they were to lose today, but they're in. Kentucky, I'm pretty sure, is in, but with a 13-17 conference record and an RPI that is in the 30s, I wouldn't want to lose today. It might make for some nervous moments between now and next Monday. So
they're in.
I think they're in. If they
but they're in.
If they were to lose today and a whole bunch of, bid stealers emerged, but they're probably in. I would say that they are in. So that game is the second game at.
How about your eyeball this past weekend? Even in a rough overall win-loss record, pretty damn competitive against one of the hottest teams at their place. Huh?
I think Kentucky is absolutely one of the best. However many at-large teams we get, absolutely one of those teams. They got 3 quality starting pitchers. Okay. If Ben Cleaver's throwing for you on Sundays, and Nate Harris, a freshman, has been really good on Fridays. I forget the Saturday starter's name, but no, they have been very, very solid. And as the eyeball test, yes, if they had even won one against Vanderbilt, it's not even a conversation. It's probably not anyway. But that's what wanted to give you the numbers as we start game number 2. This is a straight picket, right? If I'm looking at
Kentucky, Oklahoma, yes,
yes. Straight picket, probably both minus 110 or 1.
Total is 11.5. If you use an 11.5 total, the first game today in the last year's tournament, the Hoover Met is playing 13-5 to the unders. 13-5 to the unders, playing bigger than Charles Schwab Field in Omaha, which was 8-6 to the overs last year. So much bigger than what we have seen. So anyway, another low-scoring game. Alabama advances to take on Tennessee tomorrow. Tennessee is a $2 favorite in that one as well. I'll tell you one later, Charlie, that just caught my attention. I'm sorry. Texas A&M's $1.25 over Mississippi State. Mississippi State's won 6 in a row in conference play.
Yeah.
Kind of taking care of business. And, I mean, A&M.
A&M knows their season's over unless they win this tournament.
Oh, well, yeah, they really playing with a whole lot of urgency the last couple of weeks.
Not so much.
No. 1-5. And I just think that, and we know, them dogs going to have a few more fans that close of a ride than A&M will ever think about it. I don't know. I just think that I'll take my chances with Mississippi State. Just playing for positioning only tonight. Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Does your homeowners association require wood windows in your neighborhood? Well, we can take care of you at Relief Windows. Relief Windows, and boy, those wood windows, we are proud to be the premier gelled-wind wood window company. Wooden windows that come with great-looking windows, high-tech energy efficiency, and for all climate zones, including the extreme Louisiana conditions, southwest Louisiana, from rough rain, heat, snow, but also using that RLS wood. The gelled wind windows come with a 20-year general warranty and a lifetime limited warranty against rot and termites, providing years of beauty and minimal maintenance. It's functional. They look good, and they are built to last. You get all of the check marks when you call Relief Windows for those RLS windows. Relief Windows at ReliefWindows.com, 288-8138.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Annie from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch. College basketball, probably one of the furthest things from my mind today until I saw this story today. Boogie Flan, the all-everything guard that was with Arkansas and had put himself into the NBA draft
going to
Florida, withdrew from the draft last week and decided this morning committed to Todd Golden and Florida. What do you make of this, Jimmy? Because he was with Calipari. He committed to Calipari, if I'm not mistaken, when he was still at Kentucky. Followed him to Arkansas.
Yes.
And
supposedly he was the highest paid player on the team.
Yes,
that's for the highest paid payroll in the SEC basketball this past year.
Taking the words right out of my mouth, and I don't know, but I'm guessing he got some NIL dollars from that group before he got out of high school. Is that fair to say? Kind of like what Tennessee did with Nico. Maybe he did, but he got plenty when he got there. Okay, So this is a coach you've been with through multiple schools, multiple places, and you're getting plenty of money. And he was really good the first half of the season. He was averaging about 15 points a game before he got hurt. Got hurt in the game against Florida, ironically, and didn't really play. Wasn't really a factor at the end of the season like he was at the beginning. And this guy jumped ship. It's Cal, okay? I mean, this is the coach that goes and gets these guys, right? He got the most money. And he can't even keep, okay? And this guy was playing.
Right.
And he's starring, right? He was the best player. I know he was when they played LSU, for damn sure. What else can you do? This is the coach. This is the money. This is you're playing. It's a big-time program.
These level players that are, say, like in the top 10% as far as what they're making, they're getting paid more to leave than to stay.
So Florida tops the offer, which was tops already. It's kind of where I'm going with this, right?
Well, in life, Charlie, do businesses pluck employees for less money to move?
Not good. No, they don't.
So, I mean, it's no different here. I mean, you could stay there and get this much, and I would have to think that Arkansas's offer probably went down because they didn't get what they paid for last year. Part of it because of injury and he missed time, and part because he wasn't the best player on a Sweet 16 team. There were better players. There was some that thought they got better once he was hurt and off. It couldn't play. Well, they did. How much is that coincidental? How much is part of, addition by subtraction? It happened. And we talked about it. We followed Arkansas very closely. They go and beat the hottest team in the country, man, at St. John's in the second round, and they were in the Sweet 16. And, blew. And, man, with all the SEC success last year, man, Arkansas and Ole Miss blew it in the Sweet 16 round. They should have won those games. And then you'd have had like 6 of the 8 in the Elite Eight. I mean, as good as they were, the SEC, they should have been better.
Okay, so now let me take it from the other side. You're Florida. You just won the national championship.
They got more return than anybody.
They do. Them in Missouri are up at the top. Now, their stars, are leaving, but they've got players coming back. So he just got a new contract, so he's under no pressure to win. Is this just a strike while the iron's hot? I can go out and I can get a player of this magnitude. Like you said, they had to pay him more. So this is where I want to. I'm Todd Golden. This is where I want to put my budget. Okay, I've got all the political. I've got the most political capital of anybody that could possibly have at this point, and I've got a pretty sizable bankroll. This is where I want to put my money. Yes, you saw him play. I thought he was a really good player.
I thought though, but you want the kid. What's the kid's name from Iona that hit all the big shots?
Yeah. I can't remember his name, but I know you're
Junior.
talking about. Yeah.
You're going to tell me there's no comparison, the impact on the season that guy had for Florida and what Flan had for Arkansas. No comparison. One of the reasons is because – and part of it is because, I mean, Flan was probably more coveted than this guy. He probably made more Oh no, he made the most. He made the most. I think NIL or player pay in all the SEC last year. But this guy got you a return on your investment. And I mean, how much of their scoring production was from guys that weren't on their roster the year before? A big part. I mean, this is how you can try. It's nice to have returning players, but this is how. And probably he has more booster support. He has more of a payroll budget than he did last year after winning the championship. You know he's got more.
Sure, you go out and you get the best players. When Kim Mulkey won the national championship, they went out and got Anissa Morrow and got Haley Van Lith. They were the two of the most coveted players in the entire transfer portal that year. And now Morrow had a great career here. Van Lith ended up moving on to TCU where she played really well. They also got the kid from Xavier Lee from Princeton, who was the two-time Ivy League Player of the Year, point guard, and he was a very highly coveted guy in the early part of the transfer portal. But this is where they go. I guess.
What's the kid's name? Okay, I mean
from Iona, I don't remember.
Yeah.
You'll have to find it while I do this live. But I guess my point was
Walter Clayton Jr.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter who your coach is. It doesn't matter how much money you're paying them. Everybody can move. You're the highest paid guy on a team with a legendary coach who's got a history of putting guys.
If you're
in the
Arkansas,
NBA.
Are you offering less than you did last year after what you got?
Don't you think his deal wasn't year to year, that it was like, hey, come for – well, might have been because they might have expected him to go pro.
Everything's year to year. Why would this be different?
Well, the Nico thing was a multi-year deal. That was football, though, and you can't go pro. Yes, this probably was a year-to-year deal because they probably expected him to put his name in the NBA draft. And if he hadn't gotten hurt, he probably would have stayed in the NBA draft. Don't you think?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is also one from your neck of the woods as far as that he might be higher on some NBA draft boards coming into the year last year than a guy like Walter Clayton Jr. But I mean, what you got out at the college level, Clayton was huge.
Hit every big
monster
shot. For every big. I mean,
without him, they're knocked out the second round.
Yeah, they don't.
They're losing
to
UConn.
Absolutely. We're brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, your situation is unique. So let Coastal Capital Advisors work with you. They'll develop a plan. You, your business partners, your legal team, tax professionals to make sure all of your goals are achieved, no matter what portion of your life you're in, no matter what your age or your financial situation. They're going to make a plan that makes sense for you. Talk to Phil Fontenot and his staff at 337-981-1376 online. CoastalCapitalADV.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA SIPC. They're underway with Game 2 between Kentucky and Oklahoma at the SEC tournament. Yeah, they started a little earlier than I thought. I didn't think they were starting until 1. I didn't think they were starting until 1 o'clock. Hey, get out there and play ball. They have started with the first pitch of that game. Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, earlier today, Alabama eliminated Missouri from the tournament 4-1. Tulane stayed alive with their win in the American tournament. They played Florida Atlantic. They won 6-3. Started their closer, Michael Lombardi, got 7 innings out of him. Cal beat Miami 12-2. Miami is going to be a 2 seed somewhere in the Southeast, so could be a future LSU opponent, possibly. And Oklahoma and Kentucky are now underway. Jimmy, tonight
5-5 at Schwab, Michigan, Illinois.
The Big Ten tournament at Charles Schwab Field. Tonight, T-Wolves and Thunder, Game 1. OKC showing 7.5.
Yeah, I'll take the points.
You'll take the points with Minnesota. I think so.
Not my best NBA postseason. No, I'll admit.
We are into the conference finals. We will have a champion that has not been a champion in a very long time, or maybe ever. depending on how these things go.
I'm just going to fade the recency biases of what we saw last out of these two teams, and we saw New York and Oklahoma City just blast their opponents, and I think you're dealing with some inflated lines because of that. I
agree. And remember back to the Thunder's game 1 against Denver. They let Denver hang around. Denver stole that thing at the end.
Yes,
so
yes.
I'm with you on Minnesota plus the points.
Minnesota's fresh, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to think of them. I mean, they won. They won close games, though. But they go 8-2 in the first 2 rounds against decent competition.
Yeah, you've got a nice combination there of a young superstar and some guys that have played, Gobert and Randall. Those guys have played a lot of playoff games over the course of their careers. And then you got, the superstar in Edwards. It's an interesting team.
None of the 4 wins against Golden State came with Steph.
With Curry in the game. Yeah, I understand. All right, here at Mike Anderson's, we're just kind of coming to the end of graduation season, but you can come by here anytime during the summer. Shane went out and bought a bushwhacker machine. Okay.
Yes.
If you are down on the Gulf Coast and you go down on your beach trips and you get a bushwhacker, you want to come by and get one. He went and got the machine special. It's right here in the front of the bar. So a summertime drink.
A lot of people heading for the beach. You're staying in town. We are open for operation over here at Mike Anderson's. Most of our lineup are here on the station. Has the day off. Charlie and I do our standard Memorial Day NCAA baseball pairing show, quasi show. So it's kind of we'll patch into the to ESPN show where they reveal the field is 64, and so we'll be at the Queen that day. So we'll be at the DraftKings Sportsbook at the Queen Casino for Memorial Day show, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So, just kind of doing our things with some information and immediate reaction for the Field of 64 for the NCAA baseball tournament.
Thanks to our friends here at Mike Anderson's for being our host today. Tomorrow we are at Roca Pizzeria on Government Street at Mid-City with lots more conference baseball action to get to. For Jimmy Ott, Jordan Kitchens back in the studio. I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.